Welcome to the Dan and Anton show. Let's go! Coolness therapy, yeah, we healing every week. From the Emirates raw to the facts that we speak. Yeah. Fire them cannons, hear the North Bank boom. Red and white waves, yeah, we lighting up the room. North London forever. When Teta got the vision on lock. From the training ground drills to the tick of the clock. Saka on the wing, got defenders on skates. Rice in the middle, yeah, he's controlling the states. Gabby and Sally Bar manning down the back while Victor's off celebrating after finishing the attack. Dan and Anton show, now take your seat.
Well, for now, it's just the Anton show. Apologies for the delays, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we've been trying to get in touch with Dan over the last couple of hours. Our boy just gone quiet a little bit. So, but guys, the show is in the building. Anton is in the building. It's my first time hosting Gooners Therapy. So, big up my boy Jake Woo. What up, party people? Make sure you're liking and subscribing every damn time. Jake, I thought you were just going live on your own channel recently. So big commitment from Jake. And big ups to No Name G888. Not going to lie, that's a banger. Yeah, guys, what do you guys think? First off, before we get on into our topics, guys. Is that or is that not the best intro? The best intro in all of YouTube? I'm actually going to send Jake the link because Jake is my co-host on my channel, and you guys are going to get this. And I think Jake deserves very much so to kind of get a spot here on the Gooners Therapy himself. It's been a long time coming. So I'm going to send him the link quickly, guys. Bear with me. We're going to continue with the topics that I originally planned for this show. Yeah, it's gonna be a banger, and I've got all the topics. This is gonna be, as I said, on my post game after Arsenal against Southampton, the most truthful assessment of Arsenal that you're gonna get. I don't want to bark up my own tree here, but that's kind of how I feel. Now, where's Jake's on my Jake? All right, I'm going to send him the link as well. He's going to come in last second replacement. I know that because he always is able to do that. And so we can have these conversations. So let's begin, guys. Making sure you're hitting the like button. Make sure you're subscribing to Gooners Therapy and obviously to my very own channel, to Fire Them Cannons. And we will begin. Of course, you can hit the QR codes if you're on either of the channels, and you will take you to the other channel, and you can subscribe there. So on my bottom left, you can hit the QR code, subscribe to Goodness Therapy. On my bottom right, you hit the QR code, Fire Them Cannons. It's next to the logo. It's pretty self-explanatory. All right, let's go. First subject up, and of course, we're gonna have to talk about it. And as I said, I will give you the most truthful assessment. I've almost practiced this to a absolute T in terms of this game. I've actually, maybe I'm self-abusive to myself, but I actually go back and I watch these games again, even when we lose. It's absolutely disgusting. But yeah. But it's what I got to do to make sure that we have the clearest, most assessment. And one thing that I've always been true to once I started on YouTube is I never, ever wanted to just be reactionary and just be hyperbolic or say things that I might regret. That I always feel like I have to be truthful to it and not always stick to my principles. So I'm going to today, for the first time in a long time, you will see me criticize Arsenal pretty openly. And for anybody who watched my content yesterday, and by the way, I want you guys all in a second to give a warm welcome to my co-host on Fire Them Cannons, to Jake, who is now going to be joining me for his debut on the Gooners Therapy. What up to Jake? I told you the
What's up,
show is
people?
in the building. We have taken over the Gooners Therapy while
Yeah, we
Darren
have.
is hiding. So yeah, guys, make sure you guys all give love to Jake in the chat. Seriously, all this go is like big ups to Jake. All I got to do is say that. Okay, what is this? Imagine if Arsenal bottle everything. Lol, I see it happening. Well, we'll discuss that. We will discuss that. That profile picture.
What kind of a profile picture is that, bro? Club fillers, pink knickers.
Club fillers, spink knickers, H2K.
All right, there you go.
So, Jake, did you watch my video yesterday?
I haven't gotten a chance to, man. I've been super busy since last week.
Well, you're going to be leaving it now because what we... Yeah, love it. Look, I'm all you guys. I'm loving just kind of getting to know some of you boys from the Gooners Therapy. Of course, obviously, I'm here pretty often. I'm on the shows with everybody else. I'm a guest, but today to be in the host seat on this channel, you know, it's pretty sweet. So it's a long time coming, of course. So guys, this is a good plug for Fire Them Cannons. Yesterday I had a show. It was Under Pressure, which is a show that I should be doing every week. I only did it like for the first time in a month yesterday, but it was a big one. I went over an hour. Of course, I can't help myself. We just unlocked everything. But
Really?
in this unlocking, we have to look at the reasons in which Arsenal have lost the last two games. We have to look at those games as isolation and realize there are real reasons. And yes, Arteta is to blame. There are real things that he got it wrong in those. But we also need to realize that those problems are not going to be the rest of the season's problems. If you think that, then you're just being angry to be angry. And if that's your thing, that's your thing. I'm not gonna judge. So on FS1, they do this thing called Blame Pie. And for the first time yesterday, I debuted Blame Pie. And so I guess that's what I'm going to do here on Gooners Therapy as well. So here you see, I'm going to actually just remove the topic banner so you can see it. This is a pie chart. It's Arsenal Blame Pie. You see the Under Pressure logos in the middle. Not if it's just a bit of a shameless plug again. But you can see 50%. Everybody, I need some interaction from the group, by the way, from the chat. All right? We need interaction from the chat here because this, guys, got everybody involved. I want to hear everybody's opinions on this. We have a big game, by the way, tonight, Arsenal against Sporting. We're going to get into that earlier. But the last time, before I believe the season, hopefully, starts to go in a better direction, and as Mikel Arteta promised us, you know, that things are only get better from here, he said. But of course, at the moment, I can't really believe a darn word he says. Guys, can anybody in the chat guess who does 50% of the blame for the last two games belong to? Anybody? Any takers? Any takers? All right, we'll just continue anyway. Jake, I'll throw that on to you. Have a guess? Have a guess.
Yeah, the manager. It's on him. It's on your head top, bro.
Boom.
Yeah.
It's Mikel
That's
Arteta.
about right.
Dan is going to hate this. Dan was supposed to, I was wanting to see Dan's reaction to it, but, he will by watching it. And, but yeah, Mikel Arteta. I looked yesterday at the lineups that he put together, especially, I think, Southampton more than anything. So the biggest thing that you need to realize is now, by the way, this is a quarterfinal of the FA Cup. This is not any of the previous rounds. This is not Kairat or Inter with nothing to play for. This has everything to play for. And once again, of course, I forgot to put my light. Everything is to play for. And yet, I feel by dissecting and looking at these lineups again, the problem that we had with Kepa starting, it's the same idea that he's put forward against Southampton, which is, I'm going to reward those who got me here. The problem is that not all games. Oh, I love it. That's funny. That is so funny.
Yeah, we're trying not to remember it either, Val. We try not
man.
to remember it either.
All right. The starting 11. Only two of what I would believe is Arsenal's best 11. Now, you guys can disagree with me, but this is who I believe Arsenal's best 11 is, and I've been right from the beginning, and I'm pretty happy that I am. It's Raya, it's going to be Hincapié or Calafiori. Pick your poison. For me, either or, depends on the game. They're both starters every other game. Gabriel Saliba, Jurriën Timber. I think the Ben White conversation is now over. It's Jurriën Timber.
It's not, bro. Not today. Not today, Leastways.
I mean, yeah, I know that's going to be it, but hopefully it's going to be Mascara. To be honest, Ben
God,
White,
please,
yeah,
please. Holy crap, please.
yeah. Rice and Zubimendi. Now, this is going to trigger people, not Jake, because Jake will love this. Odegaard. Eze on the left-hand side. Let's be honest. Martinelli is, I don't want to see his face for a long time. And Leandro Trossard, while he's been coming in and out with injuries, hasn't quite found any form really since early January. Can we all agree on that? Some guy who has, and by the way, the most miraculous of miracles came yesterday in the news cycle. Eze is back in training. I thought he was supposed to be out for 4 to 6 weeks.
Thought he was out for, yeah. Wow.
He was back in training. He's been out for 4 to 6 weeks. Apparently back for the Bournemouth game. Excellent. But Eze on the left, Saka on the right. He's not going to be playing tomorrow. But at least I'll pick Trossard over Martinelli. Yeah, same. I reckon it's Eze, then Trossard, then Martinelli. Given that we have a fully fit Odegaard. At the end of the day, Odegaard at his best is still the best number 10 at Arsenal. He just hasn't been there for a while either. But he also has been out injured. And for me, I want to still see him play with the best attackers at Arsenal in front of him before I start passing judgment. So for now, it's Odegaard. And up top, I think without a shadow of a doubt, in fact, he is one of the first players on the team sheet now. It's Victor Gyökeres. But only 2 of those 11 players played, and that was Gabriel and that was Odegaard against Southampton. Now, what the fuck? Alfie, I get you. Look, I am a supporter of the manager. Here. I'll be honest. This is a great day because I get to be negative Dan and positive Dan.
That's funny. That's funny.
Right. I get to be both of them wrapped into one today because for those of you guys who didn't want to believe me, now you're going to get to see it in full flight. I am not Arteta in. I'm also not Arteta out, which gives me the privilege of being able to roast him when he does poorly and also praise him when he does well. Whoa, what about that for a revelation?
What a revolutionary idea that is.
Oh, I know, right? So, Arteta 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, and me and Jake already discussed this, disrespected Southampton. He disrespected the FA Cup. In fact, I'm disappointed in him for not addressing them, the competition, the Arsenal fan base, with a complete apology for his disrespectful behavior. Because
what's sad about it is that he said in the presser today that we deserve to win that game. I don't know what he was smoking, but I'm not sure that I agree with that.
Sometimes I don't know. I feel either any of us will do better than him. Guys, look, let's not disrespect. I think the truth lies in between. Like, I think I think that Arteta is the man who's built this team. The reason why we're so consistently dominant throughout the whole year. Yes, that's true, guys. While it has gotten from 3 to 4 to 5 over the last couple of weeks, it's still only 5 losses in 51 games. That's 9.8% of the season, which has ended up in losses. But for me, it's got nothing to do about any of those other games other than these last two ones where trophies are on the line. We will go back to Wembley. We'll talk about Wembley. Although, to be honest, I think Arteta's problem with Wembley is more about how we reacted to seeing issues rather than his opening lineup. But this one, the opening lineup was absolutely disrespectful. Who agrees here after Wembley that we wanted Kepa out? We didn't want to see him again. Who? Any takers?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah. I don't think, and again, didn't learn from his lesson. Kepa's back.
I don't think Kepa
Now,
made any.
I'm going to quote Dan.
Mistakes,
if anybody watched, here you go. If anybody watched Dan, negative Dan, and his posts on the social media of the Goodness Therapy the other day, he made a very, very good point. See how I always like to big ups my fellow content creators when they come up with great points. The back four against Southampton had never played together before, and that was the one that I was looking like, really, surely MLS, Gabriel, Mascara, White, never. Looked it up, went through every lineup of the season, never happened. Dan was bang on. First time that that team has that back four has played together with that goalkeeper. The midfield, Havertz, Odegaard, Norgard. First time that has been a midfield trio ever. Up front, Dowman, who, by the way, Jake makes a great point. We're relying on a 16-year-old. Jesus, who is getting charity minutes up at striker, and Martinelli, who has been crap, hasn't scored, I believe, since Portsmouth away. By the way, he scored 3 in that one, but hasn't scored since. That was, by the way, the opening round of the FA Cup. So while I keep been given this myth that Martinelli has been amazing in the cups. Well, since that game, we've played a game against Chelsea at home. We've played Wigan. We've played Mansfield, and now we've played Southampton. And do we count Champions League games as cups? I think two games against Leverkusen. That's 6. No scoring. That's your lineup against Southampton, a team that has won 14 of 15 games in a row.
15 now. Well, they're unbeaten in 15. Some of them were draws,
but not just that. It's the fact that he does not. We're back to the cup final issue. At the cup final at halftime, we all knew Calafiori on, Hincapié off.
Yeah, begging for it.
At halftime today, in this last game, do you know who I had? I told Jake I had 5 changes because the first lineup was so bad. He needed to make 5 changes, so at least you have 7 of your 9 starters. The other 2, by the way, impossible to bring on because they're not in the squad altogether. Oh yeah, another issue that Arteta falls at his door because magically Declan Rice is going to be playing tonight against Sporting, probably starting. Oh wow, what a shocker!
Yeah.
So what he needed to bring on was Gyökeres. By the way, what a disclusion given the fact that he now has got 5 goals in 3, and the biggest silver lining in this game is that he continues just his form and he keeps scoring. Right? He needed to bring on Saliba. By the way, not for Mascara, but for Ben White. Because Ben White had a shocker already. He should have been benched for that first half mistake. Full stop.
Yeah, for sure. Agreed.
Full stop. Most of the guys in this chat would have defended that ball better than Ben White. I promise you. A kid in elementary school would have done better in defending that than Ben White. For that, he had to been yanked. And therefore, you would have probably closed the door on Southampton with a back four of, the one that I want to have starting tonight, because Calafiori would have also been one of my changes. Zubimendi needed to come in, right?
Yes. Way sooner than he did.
So, and by the way, Raya, I would have changed the keeper at halftime. Now, of course, I'll excuse him for that one because nobody ever really does it, but I would have. Because I would have been like, fuck this. We are 1-0 down to Southampton at halftime in a game that we cannot afford to lose. So he doesn't do this.
I would have brought the heat.
But any combination of them. When is guys? Can we look back? When was his first substitution the other night? So let's go to let's go to
It's 57. The 57th minute.
57th minute. What was the change?
It was the 57th minute we waited to make it.
Yeah, that's at least better than the cup final.
It was a double. It was the first double change. It was.
I
think it was Gyökeres and
it was Gyökeres and Calafiori at 60 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah.
To be fair, he does make so the changes that come on are Calafiori, Gyökeres, Madueke, Saliba, and Zubimendi. That's basically four of the changes. I actually would have kept Odegaard on and taken Havertz off because. Yeah, that we'll get to that because that's the next part of Blame Pie. Not to play spoilers or anything, but yeah, look, I'm loving the comments coming in, by the way, before we continue. But yeah, we get the point. In the cup final, I'll go back to it just quickly. It was obvious that we were handcuffed with Nkapie. We were screaming for Calafiori because everybody was screaming for Calafiori. Everyone in the pub I was at was screaming for Calafiori. Why couldn't the manager do it? But no, the reporter goes up at halftime. Arteta will be waiting at least until the 70th minute until he makes the change. Now, how the reporter knew that, and by the way, the reporter was spot on because that's what happened. By the way, by that time, Arsenal are 2-0 down.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Realizes, by the way, that Havertz, early on in the game, that Havertz is making zero effect on the game. Could have brought on young Max Dowman. Could have put Saka in the middle and put Madueke out on the right, which he did eventually, but when it was far too late. By the way, the attack actually started to exist somewhat at that point. But it was all too little too late, and we were scrambling. And he let Pep win the war of the minds.
Yep.
But at the same time, when we can put the blame at Arteta's door, it's also something we can look at in the positives. Because for me, those teams have not been teams that I've seen play in the Champions League or the Premier League this year. And if Arteta stays to his principles, you stick with who brought you here, those players aren't playing again this season. Let's read some of your comments before we move on to the next part of the Blame Pie. Dan wants Arteta's bottom 100, mate. 7 years, over 1 billion spent in Convid Cup. All right. I'm not going to chuck my co-host for this show under the bus in that way, but thanks for the comment. For Arteta this year, but we need to show something. Yes, 100%. Thank you for illustrating my words for me. Yeah, he needs to 100% show. He needs to win something. And the fact that we're 9 points clear in the Premier League, I'm expecting that to be delivered to me, honestly. If we don't win that, we got problems. We've got serious problems. So lucky in a lot of these games, /trash football, /boring, slow, backwards passing. Yes, and that's the other 50% of the blame pie. So stay tuned. I would start Raya, man. It's more about, let's just not leave any room for error. Let's not take any chances. Let's just go for it. Well, I want to win the trophy. We haven't won a trophy yet. Let's not leave any stone unturned. You have to start Raya. Raya is a certainty. And by the way, the fact that Kepa, you think Kepa has been great. I actually I watched my video yesterday. I went back on every single one of Kepa's performances this season. Even his one, which, got us to the final of the Carabao Cup, the shootout. He also failed to save 7 shots. It was 8-7 Arsenal on penalties on that day. So we behaved like as if Kepa was some sort of shootout hero. No, he wasn't. He also conceded 2 at Stamford Bridge to Alejandro Garnacho. Conceded goals to Manfield. Conceded goals to Portsmouth. He, by the way, made his job a lot harder than it needed to be when he played Brighton at home in the Carabao Cup. He was never good. There was not... Guys, please, in the chat, tell me one Kepa performance that was good.
I can't think of one.
So why are we surprised? And by the way, his record in finals of the Carabao Cup is horrendous.
Awful. He's lost every one.
And I just don't understand, how could the manager of Arsenal Football Club do that? And yeah, I know. I'm actually looking at myself talk and say these things. I'm like, I don't even recognize myself right now. But it's just the truth. For those of you guys who get to see it now, I'm not deluded with my head in the clouds. Arsenal's just been winning. That's just the facts. Basically, that lineup was a virgin. Yeah, the lineup absolutely was a virgin. Never tested out at any level whatsoever.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Dan was disrespectful of Jez, going on about his age, etc. Jez looks younger than Dan. Yeah, look, I didn't really watch yesterday, so I can't.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one either.
So we had the easiest draw of any team and scraped past Poppy, Mansfield Town. We got bummed by Southampton. This manager is you guys can read what Alfie wrote already in the comment section. Alfie is mad, guys. Alfie
he's not excited. He's not excited.
True that. It was a huge blunder. Yeah, the Ben White, yeah. That alarm was for Ben White. He needed to wake up, and he still didn't wake up. Actually, to be fair, by the way, Calafiori, upon rewatching, is completely at fault for that winner, and he has definitely not gotten any shade whatsoever, which is funny. Even for me, I still want Calafiori to start tomorrow, but he has his moments like that. You remember Wolves as well? He had his moments like that. Yeah. I don't think Calafiori is a substitute.
I don't think it would be good for Calafiori to start, because Trincao is going to be their right forward. He's lightning pace.
I'm not starting MLS.
Yeah, it's Nkapie. It's got to be Nkapie.
No, Nkapie is not healthy.
Never mind. Never mind.
It's Calafiori. It's got to be.
Yeah, he's going to have to stay disciplined and stay.
Well, I think Cala has got enough speed. I think you're underrating his speed.
But not if he's on walkabout. Not if he's in Bukayo Saka position when we turn the ball over and they have a counterattack and he's just not there.
Yeah. Well, look, we'll have to see. Hopefully.
That's why I want Nkapie. He stays home.
Yeah, but yeah, Nkapie is injured, man. Guys, have you seen the pen training? That's pretty funny. But you know what? Arteta, every time he pulls out some wacky training stunt, Arsenal always seem to pick it up and have a response. So let's see. He's clearly bothered by something. Otherwise, we wouldn't be seeing that weird stuff, especially in front of the camera. Big ups to Tyrell every time. Where's Dan?
What's up, Tyrell?
I don't know. I don't know where Dan is.
We're not certain.
Yeah, been looking for him. If you guys can find him for me, that would be really helpful.
If you locate him, let us know.
He might just might pop up in here at some time. Arteta out, Rupert Lowe in.
I don't even know who that is.
I don't know who Rupert Lowe is. I'm gonna have to do a quick Google search of that.
Is that Ted Lasso's assistant?
Rupert Lowe is a British politician and member of parliament. See, my audience is like, oh, this guy, he doesn't know fucking anything. I hope we do good against Sporting and most importantly against Bournemouth and City. Agreed. Yeah, no. To be honest, I'm not worried about City right now.
I'm not even. Yeah, there's no. Yeah, I'm not
worried
even looking
about-
at Bournemouth yet. I'm not even.
Yeah. Where we're at right now is we've just been knocked out of the 2 cups. We're in disaster prevention mode. We can't overlook Sporting at all because we clearly just spent our last bit of overlooking on Southampton. And yeah, and I don't think that is I'm still have a good feeling about this game. I actually do have a good feeling about this game, and to see all the players who are back now kind of gets me excited. Look, we're going to get through the rest of the blame pie, and you'll kind of get to see more depiction of where I'm talking about and where there's actually improvement. Kepa has played 2 finals, lost both, and there goes the third. Yep, 100%. Kepa did some exaggerated jump saves in the middle of the goal, and people thought he's the next coming of Lev Yashin. I gotta do more Googling again. Right.
Lev Yashin is a famous goalkeeper from way back in the day.
He's a Soviet Union footballer. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Dan definitely was holding back while Jazz was shitting on him until he snapped. If someone is an asshole to you, you are allowed to be an asshole back. Don't give me these age excuses.
Well, I agree with that premise, but I still have no clue what he's talking about.
What weird stuff did he say? Can you give context? Who?
I'm completely confused, man.
I'm
I'm not sure what they're talking about at all.
Guys, I watched maybe about 5 minutes of last night's live stream. Arteta. What weird stuff did he say? I mean, he did say
the weirdest thing he said for me was that he thought we deserved to win the Southampton game.
That's it.
That was the weirdest thing he said.
That's
for
the
me.
weird stuff. But you thought we deserved to beat Southampton. Like, honestly, JT, Southampton were having shooting practice at times in the game against us. Like, they were playing, let's knock the ball off the crossbar for fun. At time, it was that to be honest, when that, I forgot, I don't really many know any of their players really, but when that number 11 just took a pop shot off the crossbar, I'm like, this is a joke.
Yeah. And he's their backup. He was their backup. Their main forward was injured. Like Flynn Downs, their best player, was injured. Like what? Yeah, I don't even. Yeah.
Yeah. Rupert Lowe is a patriot. If you're English these days, you disliked by the wokey left government. I won't mention politics again, just so you know. No, all good, bro. All good. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I'm not caught up.
I'm not
on
really
British
a politics guy.
politics.
I'm into my American politics, but once every 4 years when I can actually do something about it. The rest of the time, I'm just like, okay, whatever. Although when all of a sudden, I can't. My petrol is so fucking expensive. I do start to pay attention a little bit. But
That's everywhere. That's the whole world.
But yeah, we'll put politics aside. All right. Thanks, guys, everybody, for the comments. Keep them rolling, by the way. But the next time we're going to do our next slice of pie, and that's 20%. Midfield balance. Now, this is not an issue that Arsenal have in general for the majority of the season, but it was definitely an issue at Wembley, and it reared its ugly head, I think, even to further extremes at St. Mary's. So, look, the first time I would be a liar if I told you when I saw the lineup and it was Rice, Mendy, Havertz, knowing that Eze was out, that I had any problem with it. I don't think anybody had problems with it. I don't think we had any other real options, because who else were you going to put there? You weren't. Maybe because he's been the flavor of the month. Maybe you put your 16-year-old kid at the number 10 against Manchester City in a Wembley final, but I wouldn't have. So I can't blame him for the starting 11. But that way, we're done with Arteta, by the way. But we got all that out. Now we're going to talk about the players, which own the other 50% of the pie in various different ways. But Kai Havertz, guys. And I brought up, I'll actually bring Kai Havertz stats up back again. in that final against City. Just to illustrate for you guys, maybe I'll do
Did
a
he create
screenshot.
stats? I didn't think he did anything.
Yeah, well, this is the insane. Oh, let's not forget Leandro Trossard, who had 1 touch in the entire game, but
Jesus.
we went over that. All right, let's see if I can. I'm going to screen share that way you guys can see. We're at SofaScore. SofaScore. Here we go. Kai Havertz. Can everybody see that, or I need to like zoom in like way?
You might want to zoom in a little bit, yeah.
All right. Well, I get it. Where is Kai gone? His stats. All right. This is about as much as I can go. All right. So this is Kai Havertz. I'm just going to go with dribbling because this is the scary one. Dribbles successful for your number 10. Do you see that number? 1 dribble attempted, 0 successful for your number 10. This is literally what 3 total carries in 90 minutes. Possession lost. This is the stat. You can thank Rodrigo from Manchester City, or Rodri as he's now called, for this one. Jake, possession lost 12.
That's embarrassing. That is embarrassing.
Out of 30 touches, possession lost 12.
Ew.
Let's looking at his passing, right? His passing completion percentage was a grand total of 56%. So just about 50%, 10 of 18.
Seriously, I don't ever want to see Kai Havertz in the middle.
0 key passes.
Not ever. Not ever at all, ever.
Yeah. By the way, 67% is a nice percentage for someone who, when we needed the relief to get out when City had the pressure, to have only 3 passes in our own half, given how that game was going and how basically we spent most of the game in our own half, how he only had 3 key passes. All right.
Yeah,
that's the Kai Havertz part.
This is rough reading. This is really rough.
Home that
rough
point.
reading.
So if everybody didn't believe me, now you see it. Like, he was so bad. And Zubimendi and Rice on that day, now they're to me part of the solution. And I think I'm starting to get context as to why they probably played that horridly. And I probably should have thought about it at the time, but I'm not really much of an excuse maker. But they were poor on the day as well. Let's move to Southampton. Now, if you thought that was bad, Arteta felt, hey, let's put him back in the 10 again against Southampton. Now, he played a little bit better. By that means he registered an assist for Victor Gyökeres in a ghost of a performance for the most part.
So he had 15 seconds where he did something.
But so we had bad midfield balance at a cup final at Wembley against Manchester City, right? Which I think you can somewhat say, hey, City have got Rodri, at one point one of the best DMs in the world. City have got Bernardo Silva, at one point one of the best 8s in the world. Of course, granted, I know both of them are no longer really at the levels of what they used to be, but they were on that day. Southampton, not so much. We went with a midfield pivot of Norgard on his own with 2 10s in an away game. Now, again, I feel like I'm still putting it on Arteta's door, but he gave him Havertz a second chance, and he blew it again. Yeah. I actually went back and watched Martin Odegaard's performance. In terms of this category, midfield balance, he was perfect. Now, in terms of missing shots and scuffing him in front of goal, yeah, that final cutting edge was kind of missing. And yeah, I do kind of feel like he was kind of avoiding Dauman for some reason. He's jealous for 16-year-old. I kind of felt those little bit of a vibes going on in my second watch, because I keep seeing Dauman is literally always running into space, and Odegaard is failing to find him on many occasions. Odegaard, I think, had his own mixed bag of performance, but again, I still want to see him play. I still want to see him play with the better players. That's what I want to say. I want to see him play with Victor Gyökeres. I want to see him play. We're not going to get to see him play with Saka, but with being platformed by Rice and Zubimendi. And I want to see Trossard out there with Odegaard and see if it gets a little bit better. Because at the same time, as opportunity knocks once more for Eze, who I would prefer not to have to play for 90 minutes against Bournemouth. I'd like the two of them to kind of, given that one's coming back from injury, the other one's going to also be coming back from injury, I'd like them to kind of share the responsibilities a little bit. Like, I'm not going to, if I'm Arteta, run Eze into the ground now, knowing that I've just dodged a bullet. And there's a little bit of me that's a little bit suspicious of, is he coming back too early? I don't know if anybody of you guys feel that way, but I'm a little bit suspicious of it. I'm like,
Same.
What? Eze's back?
Yeah.
He's supposed to be back for 4 to 6 weeks. But he didn't play him against Bournemouth, so that kind of tells you that he's not going to play him against Sporting, but he'll be playing against Bournemouth, according to all reports. But yeah, the midfield balance, that's wrong. Now, this is why I feel, though, guys, I'm not going to keep doing this for everyone, why I feel like moving forward, we're not going to have this problem. I was going to save it for my last 10%, which, by the way, my graphic let me down. It told you guys what the last 10% is. But I do feel, though, 51 games in, and I was been yelling and banging at the door, we've been playing Rice and Zubimendi too much. We've been playing Rice and Zubimendi too much. We've been playing Rice and Zubimendi enough. People thought I was losing my mind when we started Zubimendi in the Champions League games that didn't matter, and I was and I was like, why is he playing? And people were like, Anton, you're complaining too much, blah, blah, blah. By the way, that time we had a fully fit Marino and a fully fit Norgard, so there was no excuses. And I just kind of felt like going throughout the season, you're putting these players at risk when you're playing them in games that they weren't needing to play in, where there's not much jeopardy in them. And now he's missing games, a la Saturday, where there was jeopardy and he wouldn't play in it. But I do feel a little bit, and I don't know, Jake, I want to get your take on it. Do you feel maybe that at Wembley, it was just Rice and Zubimendi finally just ran out of gas at the most inappropriate time? Because Rice has I've ever had a game that bad, ever.
No, what it is, they got tired at the end, yeah, but what it was we never ever had any control in the middle of the park. So if you think about it, why do we a lot of the time slow the game down and slow the ball down? One thing it does is it also helps us take a breather sometimes. And so we're not balls to the wall for 90 minutes. But because Kai Havertz got embarrassed by Rodri and was never, ever, 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 ever able to win second balls against him. And we got dominated in the midfield. So we were chasing shadows, just like Liverpool were chasing shadows versus City. You know, that's why Declan and Zubi looked absolutely shattered, because they were running around a man down in the middle of the park because Kai Havertz had his head up his ass the whole game.
Yeah. I mean,
so that's why it looked like that. Because they were doing the work of three with only two dudes.
My hope is, because Rice didn't play in the international break, and he also didn't play against Southampton. Actually, it's not even hope anymore. It better be the case, because I needed those two, as I mentioned in my earlier point about Arteta, the fact that neither of those two started, or that Rice didn't even make the team at all, is an absolute disgrace.
Yeah.
Now we'll move on to our next. By the way, the next 2 points are kind of the same amount of blame, and it'll make sense to you when I kind of point out what they are. Those two are still secrets, but I think you guys can kind of guess. Yeah, that is weird. It's just worrying me. It makes me think all the problems some of us have been calling out he doesn't want to acknowledge. Yeah, on Arteta. Yeah, Arteta out Mengu in. We need an attacking-minded manager. I just want to win trophies. I do disagree with you a little bit there, Alfie, because I'm always defense first. That's why I'm upset about Southampton is the defense was horrific. And you could see from the first minute when Southampton felt perfectly comfortable to push the ball down the field and basically look to hit us in the break, even when we were set up defensively. Or set up defensively, because I wouldn't call that a defensive setup. And that for me was a warning sign to begin with. Here's the simple truth, guys, about attack and defense, and I'm not going to take too long on that. I said this on my post-game show. You concede 0 goals, you only can do 2 things now rather than 3. You can either draw or you could win. Now, in both of these games, Cup final, which can go to extra time, and FA Cup quarterfinal, which can go to extra time, draw is not a bad result, especially if we're playing as shit as we were playing. Maybe we can, stink one out and get us a penalty wins, which Arsenal have been very good at. So I don't think that has got a lot to do with these games specifically. If anything, these games, your goalkeeper has a gaff. That's a defensive error. Hincapié goes completely ghost. That's the last we've seen of him, by the way, since he left Ecuador and then came back injured before he got subbed for the second goal from O'Reilly. Right? Ben White has a ball go way over his head, and Calafiori allows number 24, I forget his name, to just dance right past him into basically an open goal. So that's all defense. But yeah, I do get you, but I do still think that Arsenal, we have the ability to attack. We've seen Arsenal attack well against Arteta, and we have the most goals in the Premier League under Arteta. So, but I do like that the defense first is always been my mantra. Not to co-sign the Arteta blame again, but midfield balance definitely can be improved by tactics. Big part is due for Mendy dripping in and out of form. Yeah, agreed. And by the way, I think a part of that has to do with Marino, because earlier on the season, if you remember, there were times where Marino would play sometimes. Well, I remember it was against West Ham. Zubimendi didn't start. Marino did start. Pretty sure Zubimendi does come on, I think, for Odegaard. But there were times where he was able to kind of bring Zubimendi along earlier in the season. He kind of lost that option with the combination of Odegaard being injured and Marino being injured and Eze being not picked at all to a certain degree, Norgard not being picked at all to a certain degree, and now we know why, because he can't play in a double fit pivot. That's probably kind of what caused that. But I do kind of agree with that a little bit. I think it's mostly fatigue more than anything else. Like, he's never played this many goal games in his career. Havertz, £52 million. He's been okay for 2 months and 3 or 4 years. Why buy Chelsea Rejects?
We've been asking this ever since it started. Ever since we started buying Chelsea Rejects, we've been asking this question.
Yet I sat on this channel, for some reason, having to argue why Havertz is what we all knew he was, while this fantasy was going around that he was going to be the savior. Yes, I was fuming, and the possession lost wasn't like risking an amazing play, just pure carelessness. Is this your channel then or Dan's? And this guy's red cap got a channel. This guy in the red cap's name is Jake, and he's got a channel. You can go to check him out at Cup Chasers. He's also with me at Fire Them Cannons. I do have a channel. So, and yes, you guys see guys chatting in the background. So basically, not to let you guys behind the curtain too much, Guinness Therapy and Fire Them Cannons, we are collaborating on this show. And I've been given the keys to the Gunners Therapy car to set up the shows so we can do a multi-stream that way that we can use the Gooners Therapy in a collab. So that's kind of the thing. And Dan are both my good friends, and you know, I would let them use my channel if they wanted to. So that's just kind of the way it is now. But yeah, it's fun to sit here and kind of host. By the way, this channel is monetized, right? So guys, leave us a super chat. You know, Dan will be making some cash even without having to make there. It's like annual leave. Alfie, no, they should have had a slow show together with Dan, but he didn't show up. There you go. See, yeah. JT's my lawyer. Anton's channel, Anton's channel is Fire Them Cannons. He's live there as well. Jake, I am not sure. Jake, again, so you guys all know, write it down. If you guys have a pen available, it is the Cup Chasers.
On YouTube, it's actually just at Cup Chasers. It's not it's just Cup Chasers.
It's just Cup Chasers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Alfie, thanks, JT. I guess Dan gave Anton shared use for the account, but this is negative and positive Dan's channel. It is their channel. It is.
I put it in the chat.
Yeah. And yeah, I did speak to negative Dan before coming on here, because we were all like looking for positive Dan, and we're like, where are you, man? Your show was supposed to have been 2 hours ago.
Yeah, I'm not normally on this show. I just happen to be available.
Yeah. Yeah, call it the Jake and Anton show for today. For me, Odegaard, even when he was in his amazing form, he always felt very unsure of himself, especially in big games. I think he has I think so too. I think that one thing that's good about him being gone and had a break for all this time is he can come back. And I actually liked I feel like a lot of people were harsh on a guy who just come back after missing that long, and he's just come back. And I just don't think Odegaard was that bad. I think
he was a little rusty.
He's a little bit rusty, and the shot that he, scuffs is an element of that. You know what I mean? Look, I think there is a bit of and James pointed this out, element to Odegaard's game where if he knows he's not on it, he's going to kind of like make things look a little bit more prettier than they are. Like he'll take a shot which he knows is never going to go in, but be like, hey guys, look, I took the shot. I'm trying. There's ours elements to that where he likes to make like his game look a little bit routine. And I think it's just kind of him trying to just feel himself and get himself, into the game. You know what I mean? I think the cup final, technically, Declan and Zubi were put in a disadvantage. Yeah, I agree. We were pinned in, and that disadvantage was given by us playing with a left back on a yellow card for the majority of the game. Like that's one thing that I'm sure of, because Man City had gone 4 games without victory coming into that game. They were kept at arm's length for majority of it, and I mean for the majority of the first half. Once that card starts happening, that's when the chink in our armor starts to come, and they start to find a way out. They found a little bit of a weakness. He's a great left back in general, but he was on a yellow. He couldn't really go in for challenges. And Semenyo is a great right winger and a great left winger, and he absolutely took advantage of it. And then, of course, it started to become, it started to spread to the other side where Ben White suddenly became shit, and he hasn't really recovered from that disease ever since. It was 100% Arteta tactic, sat back for 60 minutes, embarrassing about Liverpool. This I disagree with. I'll analyze that for you for a second. He came out with the intent to attack. As I just mentioned, what I said about happened with Nketiah, they started to pin us in. Now, guys, if they have possession of the ball and they are controlling it and they have us locked in, are we supposed to just evacuate the 15-yard box? No, of course we have to defend. That wasn't by design. That was by necessity. And that wasn't Arteta's tactics. To be honest, it starts with the Havertz problem. It's the Nketiah problem, but which is not a massive issue himself. I thought that the yellow itself was very harsh. But Arteta, that was the Arteta problem, which he should have subbed him off. But it was Havertz constantly, as I can go back to the 12 times being dispossessed. That's the issue that you've got there, which created that. We need to watch games and analyze games as to what creates these issues before starting to just write narratives. Because for me, honestly, narratives come from, hey, I have a scapegoat. I'm gonna use that scapegoat, but I haven't properly analyzed the football match. And that's where my bread and butter is, which is I will analyze the football match and I will tell you what's actually going on. Because I will also tell you what Arteta has gotten right. We're just happen to be, in a period of time where it's probably the worst in Arsenal season of a great season. And I'm going to tell you what Arteta got wrong. But I also don't think he'll be getting these same things wrong again, just based off of the facts that I'm laying out for you. Like, unless we have another massive injury crisis again, the variables that were out there from these last few games don't really exist moving forward. That's just kind of my belief. Hello, gents. Phylum Cans, once again, help me understand. How has our defense become suddenly shambles? Kepa can't catch the ball. White can't head the ball. Zubi. Where's that screenshot of Kai Havertz again?
It's not the first strength defense. That's why they looked like a shambles.
There's that.
Yeah.
But it's also, just a reminder for those of everybody who missed it before. Where is it? Is also dribbles. It's this number from Kai Havertz as your number 10. 12 times possession lost against Man City. So we basically gave up midfield control, and that leaves your defense vulnerable. In the Southampton game, we played with a single pivot of Norgard with Havertz once more. What does that do? Leaves your defense vulnerable. It's not just as simple as my back four. By the way, the other thing is Kepa Arrizabalaga. That's the other part of it. So again, the one thing I will say, this is why I'm still positive about the season, is that if this was Arsenal's best team and I had my best 11 and they were looking like this, I would be a hell of a lot more worried. Then all the people who are saying, hey, Arsenal's going to bottle it, from here, blah, 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 would have a point there because our best players would be playing in that way. But these aren't our best players. So that's if you really use your brain, you would see that. That's the part where there is positivity. And hopefully that starts tonight. I mean, Rodri did it single-handedly, yeah. By the way, Rodri was absolutely revived by Havertz on that day.
Yeah. Rolled back the years for sure.
Liverpool at least created chances against City. Yeah. But at the
for
same
10
time,
minutes.
At the same time, they lost 4-0. So that's an example of a manager, Arne Slot, who won the league last year by being pragmatic, and this year has given up on being pragmatic and is 6. So that's just kind of like, it's not as simple as, hey, we just need to attack more. Why are we focusing so much on defense? Focus on defense. Defense wins you championships. We gave Southampton more counter opportunities than all the other teams the whole season combined, feels like. Midfield. That's why they got the second most amount of blame. Arteta was a defensive midfielder. Why don't you want us to attack? We can't survive playing this style of football. Again, it's not that we're not attacking. Now, our players, are they impotent? We'll get to that. That's actually one of our next point. What happens when they do get the ball? And I can't blame Arteta for that. And again, I've got to look back at the personnel and the attack in the last couple of days. I'm just cracking a beer and a cigarette. I'm stressed with this manager. I can't go. Do what you got to do, Alfie. You got a game tonight. All right, my brother? If you got to just smoke a joint or have a beer or something just to relieve the stress, by all means, man. We all have our own ways of doing it. My way is yelling at a camera for now 59 minutes. Not to co-sign Arteta blame. Great attack with good defense is superior to great defense with good attack. Data shows that. We don't have the players, so don't give it 100%. look, I would be interested for you to show me that data.
Yeah, I think that's a very close one. I think it's very close. But
But
that's
none
an
of them
interesting
are
one.
let's only attack and not defend.
Right.
Kemper stinker in the final. Arteta plays him again in a quarterfinal where the defense is shaky with Kep and goal. But don't blame Arteta. I did. You must have
I
come
do
in
blame
here
Arteta.
late.
We 100% blame Arteta for that.
Yeah, you must have come here late, of course. By the way, if anybody wants to know, like, not once today have I defended Arteta. I've only defended Arteta when we lay something at his doorstep that isn't really to blame. I mean, you are doing them a favor by being on their channel. I am, man. They're my friends, guys. Although, I'm worried about one of my friends who has disappeared. When he knew he had a show at 10 a.m. But that's another story. But no, they're my friends, man. If they're gonna get money from this, that's all good.
Yeah, for sure.
They aren't monetized at the moment. They are, well, I don't know enough about, to be honest, but they are semi-monetized. They are able to receive super chats. And do they do memberships? I don't know. Anyway, I don't know enough.
I'm not sure.
It's not my channel in general.
Yeah.
Jake, you're in here. Big up, Alfie, subscribing to us both. We're looking
Thank you
forward
so
to
much.
see you. Hopefully, by the way, after games where we're doing better and we don't have to be smoking joints and drinking beers to watch the Arsenal. I'm missing the prime Saka, Odegaard, White prime in the right side. Me too. But we have to kind of acknowledge one thing. Ben White, to be honest, I can't explain it because I was calling for him a few weeks ago. Don't know what's happened. Odegaard's been out injured, and Saka, I think we're going to see the best of him when he comes back. I think maybe that's one of the reasons why he's still not back. And Arteta is kind of trying to increase that fitness. Now, will that gamble pay off? We'll see, because we're either got Anoni Madueke, who is also a walking miracle. I have no idea how he's playing football. Or now once again, 16-year-old Max Dowman tomorrow against Sporting. I'm going to assume it's going to be Noni.
Please, no. I don't want to see Dowman versus Sporting. This is getting ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to assume it's going to be Noni. But I do think you're going to see Dowman at some point, though, because if Saka's not available, but I think that suits Dowman. That's what he did against Everton, literally.
Yeah, but it's still too big for him. He's still a kid.
I agree.
We keep forgetting
Champions League
that.
quarterfinal. Yeah, but again,
He's still a child, man.
I still believe that none of it's going to matter because tomorrow will be the Victor Gyökeres show, and your striker is going to give you the production because he's had this game circled, at least until it became official. Yeah, I don't give Odegaard shit for this performance, but overall, I don't see him as a core player for a winning team going forward. I do think he's sort of, on the decline as a player in general. I do, but we also saw some great form from him in about November, December, and early January this season before, it started to drop off again. So we've seen some of the best of him. I mean, not being on their channel in general, but having a stream going without the need. By the way, everybody, I am streaming on my own channel too. Just to point out, right? You guys are.
It is a simulcast.
Yeah. And some of you guys have been commenting for my channel, as big ups JT and Vibe for that. And if anybody, Cap Chasers, Charlie, who have I gotten to Charlie's comment yet? No. Okay, go subscribe to Alfie Brindle, guys. He's got 22 subs. Let's try to get him to 50 or 100. Let's go. Truly, Arteta is not the guy, and very soon the fans will turn, and I can't
Alfie
UK in
Brindle. What's the number? 4537.
4537. Here you go. Jake subscribing.
Boom. Done.
At the moment, I got a
Subscribe.
show to
23.
run.
There you go.
All right. I mean, the necessity needed to be addressed by the manager. He was outcoached that game, but sat back for 60 minutes is definitely far from the whole story. Yeah, exactly. That's it. See, I'm starting to learn. Me and JT are a lot more alike than I originally thought. Maybe it took us to have a few defeats for me to realize it.
A few conversations, yeah.
Exactly. If we have Pele and George best, Arteta would turn them. Guys, Arteta could potentially win us the Premier League, and I'm assuming he will. If he doesn't, I will be on board with you. But again, you need to remember what we looked like under Arsene Wenger in his latter years and what we looked like under Unai Emery and under Freddie Ljungberg, who you don't remember he took over from. Gents, midfield loses possession does not lead to schoolboy errors. Best players. What leads to schoolboy errors, though, is pressure. Like when you're putting under a lot of pressure enough and you're not able to relieve the pressure. So for all the people who are saying, hey, it's not sustainable enough to play defense the whole time, you're right. Because most of the other time, Arsenal's playing side-to-side passing and failing to break teams down and winning free kicks and having corners and all your favorite stuff. Right? Pass. Because in those same games are like, hey, why are we passing
we're at our
backwards and
best.
sideways?
We're at our best
ball?
when we defend as a team by being compact in our press and pressing high up the pitch. That's where we're best.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we make their midfield lose possession. We make them make schoolboy errors. And so conversely, we're at our worst when we're under loads of pressure like that. That's why, for me, when we are on our day and pressing teams to death, we are the best team in the world. Look at how we smashed Inter Milan because we pressed high from the front. You know what I mean?
Yep. And JT goes, Arteta went all in on one game plan the whole season, which works fine against most teams, but certain styles like what Slot, Pep, Brighton is not really it, and the teams Arteta aren't able to fight it. Oh my God. JT, my brother, seriously, I agree with that 100%. The only thing is, though, which is very, very interesting, is the last two games, he didn't play like that at all. He did somewhat at the start of the Man City game, and once everything started going to shit, it fell apart. Southampton was not that plan at all. Bet he won the league last year. You bet last year is last year. You just kind of get over it, man. And by the way, last year was a totally different year. If anything, we can go talk about some of the other ones where we came close to it. Last year, I can have a whole other show, which I've gone on over an hour on this one, talking about last year, but I don't really waste my energy with it as much. I believe the answer is not the stat, unfortunately. It is one, complacency. That's in those players who don't get action enough to communication, and not present, who don't play often. And I believe that's also part of it. And again, I haven't gotten to the rest of my pie, so we'll factually attack first with defense to allow the attack is what wins championships. All right, I'm going to hold
That's
some
why
of
we
you
need
guys.
to defend from the front.
Okay, I'm going to hold.
Team.
I know I've got how many more. Okay. I'm going to just read you guys out comments because you guys are spoiling the next two bits of the pie. I never said all out attack. Look at the recent winners of UCL and EPL stats. They all have amazing attack and good enough defense to cover the asses of the defense. It's attack first, not defense first. I think it's balance. Balanced. I think this is where the only place where me and JT disagree. Madueke is so good with his dribbles, crazy, but it leads to nothing.
That's rage bait. That's just rage bait.
Yeah. You can look at stats for all past winners if you want to fact check. I will do so, JT.
The thing about it, though, JT, is that it's not like the defense was 7th in the league when they won. When champions win, it's not like their defense is 8th in the league. They're like second best.
Liverpool had the best defense in the Premier League last year, I'm pretty sure.
So it's either their defense is either second or third best. When
it may have dropped off because they were at the beach for like their last 5 games. But by the time it was official, they were definitely the best Premier League. I don't see any players matching the effect with Odegaard did in Newcastle game. He just changes the team. Agreed. And again, you need to look at the rest of the players around him. It's not conducive to getting the best out of him, and that was what was Southampton's game. But Wenger won trophies, and we played some beautiful attacking football. Alfie, can I ask you a question? Were you Wenger out?
I was.
I was
At the
big
end.
time Wenger outer.
I loved Arsene Wenger. Of course I did. But at the end, I was definitely Wenger out.
Yeah, because back at that time, do you know what we were saying? Good, he wins FA Cups, but it's not good enough. We want the Premier League. We want the Champions League. We want to be challenging. We want to be... He wasn't doing that. We were getting knocked out of the last... Here's the thing that Wenger was failing to do, which is why Arteta does deserve the credit. Last 16 of the Champions League, kept getting knocked out. Was outmatched by Bayern Munich and Barcelona, but we never managed to get beyond that. And again, you can say call it bad luck, whatever you want, but we never managed to do it. What Arteta also never managed to do is, I think one time in his last few reign was we was behind Leicester. We were second. Arteta, I don't remember him really being second much at all in the last 10 years. Maybe that was the one time. Right?
Oh, you're talking about, you mean Wenger? Yeah, no.
He didn't properly challenge the league.
We weren't second.
He didn't have us with the potential to win the league on the final day of the season, which Arteta did. So, yeah, he won FA Cups, right? And I would have loved an FA Cup this year. But it was also, let's be honest, guys, wasn't our main goal. And our main goal, it's not, I'm not saying we have bigger fish to fry. I still refuse to say that because I wanted this trophy and I'm upset about it. And you've seen that over the last 71 minutes, right? I'm upset about the Carabao Cup, but I still believe the Premier League is going to be ours, and which is why I'm not losing my mind. But we can get into that, but the likelihood of Man City winning the Premier League from here is tremendously low, which is why we have with the betting companies are like at 92 or 93% rate of Arsenal winning the league or something like that. It's absolutely insane. I want this league, then Arteta can lead. That's fair, isn't it? Jake will be back. No, because if he delivers us the first title in 22 years, then he deserves to stay. He's now achieved something that no Arsenal manager has done in 22 years. Come on, we've been waiting for a long time. We've been knocking on the door and he's finally got it. Yeah, for sure, Jake. At the end, yes. See, you were Wenger out. But were the FA Cups good enough for you at the time? Could Wenger out? He won 3 in his last 5 or 6 seasons. 2014, 2015, 2017. He won 3 out of 4. But we wanted him out. He left in 2018. He needs to walk at the end of the season. Arteta, if we win,
there's no trophies.
Only if there's no trophies. But if we win,
he's not going anywhere if we win.
Like this take again by Alfie, I thoroughly
it's
disagree.
Not fair. If he wins the league, he's not going anywhere.
Even if he doesn't win the league, I got bad news for you guys. He still isn't going anywhere. Wenger won 4 leagues, the last one of which was in 2004. We're talking about by 2018. You're still counting those up? You can't be mad at Arteta for a 6-year trophy drought, but forgive Wenger for, by the way, he had a 10-year trophy drought officially in there and 14 years without winning the Premier League title since his last. That's not very consistent in your logic. But it's more about the focus, not the goals, scores, conceded, as you said, balance. I would say about 7% don't concede, 30% score a goal. Can't say. But JT, where you're wrong is Arsenal do have the most goals in the Premier League.
But he's also right about the approach to things.
Yeah. But look, I think that's more players than Arteta. I do. But where Arteta is to blame, though, is he never played that lineup I said at the beginning of this show. We're saying what we think is Arsenal's best attack as a Saka, either side of Gyökeres with Odegaard behind. Never played yet so far this season. He has a chance to do it against Bournemouth on the weekend if everyone can if everyone's healthy. Now, I know that Eze will be there because he won't be playing against Sporting, and I know Saka will be there because he's also not playing against Sporting. If Gyökeres and Odegaard can make it through, he has a chance to do it on the weekend. And if I'm him, I fucking do it. That's sentimental, not ruthless thinking. But he won the Premier League. He could also win us the Champions League. He's had us first in the Champions League. He's had us to a semi-final. He's had us improved us. I'm sorry. That's what I'm saying. I've sat here for most of the show criticizing him. But I'm also not going to do that. That is against my principles. You can think whichever you want, BX Gunner. You can think whatever you want. If that's your belief, then, stick to your belief. But for me, I'm not sacking a man who's just made me cry as in my 30s after seeing my team win a title. Like, I'm just not doing it. In fact, I've seen teams, their biggest mistakes is win a title and cut bait of that title winning coach too quickly. And in the NBA, you guys know who Mike Budenholzer is? He was the head coach of the Bucks, right? He only coached for the Bucks for one more year after that, and he was replaced by Doc Rivers, who has now taken the team down the toilet. And they happen to have the best player on the planet Earth, and they haven't gone out of the first round since the championship, and now they haven't made the playoffs for the first time in over a decade. So grass is not always green on the other side. If a guy's delivered me a championship, it doesn't just, he earned it. It doesn't happen out of thin air. City will smash us. Bournemouth isn't easy. Newcastle, Palace, etc. I actually don't think City will smash us.
City won't smash us. No way.
See, here's the thing, guys. This is all here. We need to be a little bit more stronger mentally. This is the reason why like Man City have been worse than us overall this season. We go in cycles where Arsenal, the rivals go, oh my God, Arsenal, this is the most boring season ever, worst season ever. Oh my God, I can't believe I have to deal with Arsenal winning the league. This is going to be so depressing when Arsenal's in a good run of form. By the way, we win against Bournemouth. It's 5 straight Premier League games in a row that we've won, but you don't remember that because of these past 2 shit shows that had nothing to do with that. By the way, Man City's form, two draws in a row in the Premier League. It comes in cycles. So now City have a 4-0 win against Liverpool after beating us. It looks amazing for them. I promise you this, that the pendulum will swing back again in the other direction again. Maybe not once, but maybe twice. I promise. So that's like, we're just looking at, it's just recency bias. The goal should be to build on momentum, not continue on with art. But here's the thing.
Unless he's the one that built the momentum.
There's a glass ceiling above our heads right now. The reason why we're having these issues is because we haven't yet won. Let's get there. But you have to allow him to enjoy the fruits of his own labor if he was to deliver. I believe that not only did this BX Gunner, I think that Arsenal go to a period of dominance under Mikel Arteta if we are to win this title, which you would be denying the football club. And who is coming in to replace him? That's going to improve Arsenal. That's good. Understands what has gotten Arsenal to this far. Because what are the standards you're going to hold for that manager? If that manager fails to make it past last 16 of the Champions League next year.
Look, what's the biggest criticism of Arteta? There's only one left, is he doesn't know how to win titles, doesn't know how to win the trophy. That's the literal only thing that you can say against him left, is that his mentality in finals, his mentality to win the trophy is not there yet. If it's there, if he wins that, then he will have checked every box that we've ever had against it. And so why would we fire him when he's about to move into a new era of his own coaching career? Because the mentality will then be there. Because we will know how to win. We will have done it. The mentality question that we have will have been answered. And it would be shocking if we won the league and then he gets fired or walks. That would be crazy to me. That'd be absolutely insane.
Yeah. I second that. A coach always deserves a chance to go again if he wins. Even if you think he will not improve, at least 1 year should be given. That's based on pure hate.
There you go.
Yeah.
I agree.
Big ups. Look, Arne Slot is 6 right now. If Arteta is 6 right now, maybe we have that conversation. But the difference between the two of them is Slot inherited a team from Jurgen Klopp, and he actually burnt it to the ground in the last year, while Liverpool fans were in this delulu cuckoo land that they were improving on it. They actually destroyed it. And that's what's been going on with Liverpool. Arteta built this team. I don't expect Arsenal to fall to 6 next year. If Arsenal don't win the league next year, they're finishing second. City is probably going to be Pepless next year. Fuck knows what's going to go on with Liverpool. I mean, is Slot going to turn it around, or is Xabi coming in? Chelsea's not fucking.
Slot ain't turning it around.
Chelsea's a fucking shit show. Liam Rosenior, is he winning the Premier League?
That's a dark cloud.
Tottenham might not be even in the Premier League
Chelsea right now.
And Manchester United, they're not better than Arsenal next season. I guarantee you right now.
They're going to be in a new manager phase unless they just stick with Carrick, and it'll still be new.
So what's the logic? Again, all I will do is I'm going to give you data. I'm going to give you balanced analysis. I'm going to tell you what I think, and I'm never going to carry an agenda one way or the other. I might have a Victor Gyökeres agenda, but that's because you guys pushed way too much in the other direction that I had to do that to back him. Wager on that. If he wins nothing, this clown is gone. Again, if he wins nothing,
wins nothing, yes, absolutely. We're at a crossroads. We're 100% at a crossroads. But when you win the positive side of said crossroads, you don't go back. You don't look back.
Yeah. Arteta's peak would be winning this title. Move on afterwards. Makes sense.
No, he won't move on after winning the title.
I thoroughly disagree. If he wins this title,
ever move on if you win. The only way he's gone is if he doesn't. The only way he's gone is if we go out in an incredibly embarrassing fashion and he walks himself. I don't think Josh Kroenke will fire him even if we go trophyless. So he'll have to walk himself. The funny thing is that in 3 weeks' time from now, if Chelsea win on the weekend and we beat Bournemouth, and then we go to City and win, and then we beat Newcastle, we will be Premier League champions. Those are massive ifs, but yes.
But I'm just saying that's a possibility, right? That is how close we are to it. That's I'm using this now as an illustration of how difficult it would be for the reverse to happen. I agree. It's on the players, but he has been there for 6 years. Still ensures a healthy balance into the players. If not, change them. Yeah, Gary. All right. Let's put the Arteta conversation right now to a shelf, because I have kind of put the rest of this pie chart to a shelf, and this is only, by the way, the first thing, but I guess we've kind of mixed the second thing with the first thing anyway, and then we'll talk sporting tonight. All right. Next part of the pie. I'm just going to read Charles' comment first. 0 trophies this season. Any man with an ounce of self-respect will walk. Anton, even if the manager doesn't have the balls to fire, which is true. Yeah, agreed. But I don't think that would be. I think that would be down to Arteta. I actually don't think that the Kroenkes.
Well, that's what he's saying. Yeah,
will do
that's what he's saying.
Yeah. All right. See, as you guys have all been saying, you guys didn't let me get to it. Attacking intensity and clinical edge, 12.5%. So you might say, hey, well, that's only 1/8. Well, we've given Arteta 50%. You got to kind of just, here's the thing. Against Manchester City, I was aggravated because the fact that Man City was missing Mark Gahey, Ruben Diaz. And they absolutely should have been got at. Everybody else has gotten at them. My issue with Arsenal, we never did. And I think a lot of it has to go back to midfield balance. The defense as well. Our weeks are because of the fact we're on the back foot. But regardless, we never were able to hit them on the break or have any sort of answers in the counterattack. Now, that was our first team attack. That is concerning. However, I do feel like it all kind of comes back to number 29. I just keep saying, like, Kepa was Kai Havertz's best friend, because he kept getting all the blame in terms of the players when it was majorly Kai Havertz. all these issues and all this pyramid come back to Kai Havertz, with the exception of the next one afterwards. In this Southampton game, I do feel like Arsenal did have plenty of chances. We had them penned in. Both times that Southampton scored was when actually Arsenal had momentum. Right before they score the winner, by the way, Martinelli has a laser of a shot that is saved by Perez from a corner. And then they score. But we had many chances. We pissed around. We didn't have the right intensity. We didn't really make proper runs in behind to try to run beyond defenders to get ourselves good shooting position. None of it. It was sort of like very half-hearted attempts, and we had a huge collection of half-hearted attempts.
Because we started with Gabriel Jesus, man.
Which is why he's in the picture. When Victor Gyökeres comes on the pitch,
we score immediately.
We score. Which is why I believe, guys, and I think tonight will be your first real viewing of it. We've got a striker who's going back to his own backyard, back to Portugal, where everyone on this channel has told me, hey, he's only good in the Portuguese league. Well, that's where we're going today. Again, by the way, to the stadium where he's most familiar with in that country, where he scored more goals than anybody on planet Earth in this stadium. I have a good feeling he's getting me at least one. And I think you're going to see the spaces there for him if we can, of course, not have Kai Havertz, have Zubimendi and Rice be able to be the platform, get Odegaard to feed him balls in behind, get some support. I think Noni Madueke could be really good for him in this game as well if he's indeed the starter. And I do think that Saka or no Saka, I think it doesn't matter because the man for this game, and always has been, will be Victor Gyökeres. But again, I think that this issue has been an issue that we've had throughout the year in general, but it's more highlighted because when you don't score and your defense isn't as good as it normally is, this is what happens. The other 12.5% defensive errors. So it was 0-0 for quite a long in that Ryder Cup final game until eventually pressure told and Kepa makes a massive error. It was 0-0 in the Southampton game where actually I thought Arsenal had a bit of momentum at the time until, of course, Ben White makes a massive error. Arsenal did get the goal back in that game, but then, of course, Calafiori makes a massive error. By the way, questions on if Kepa's viewing was blocked by the defender who was offside. I never really thought about that. I thought about it at all, but I've been looking at it in my review of the game. I still just kind of think that I can't really put it on Kepa. Kepa's issues on Southampton was not his goalkeeping. It was ball to feet and getting us out and getting us into transition and moving us away from the press, which we will see when David Raya plays, and you'll be like, breathing fresh air today when you have David Raya in the goal. But yeah, I think these two things are 12.5% because they're hand in hand. If you have a weak in defense, you have to be more clinical offensively. Some of you guys have said in here, attack is your best form of defense in that situation. And the vice versa. Like, if you're not attacking properly, you need to be able to make sure that you're solid at the back. And we were neither of those things. Again, defense is where we lead our hat on throughout the whole year. I don't believe this will be an issue for the most part. Now, I'm concerned a little bit about tonight's game in terms of, is Ben White going to be back?
Please no.
Will Ben White be better with Rice and Zubimendi fully fit, with both Saliba and Gabriel in there, with Calafiori in there? He might be let off the hook a lot because some of the other guys can bail him out. But I would like to see Mosquera in at right back
for sure
if we're going to do that today. But once Timber comes back, I don't think this is an issue. This is where we've all completely apology to Jurriën Timber because he doesn't get roasted at all by anybody anywhere. We played Michael Elise, who completely was ghosted out of the game when Bayern Munich came to town, and yes, Timber did did mark him at times. So did, I think he was in Capé on the day, and Elise was put into the pocket. So I've seen us deal with some of the best wingers in Europe with our first choice defense. But with Miles Lewis-Skelly in there, that's another part of defensive errors. You left your center back completely exposed. And I don't believe that these are going to be issues that we're going to have moving forward. That's the thing. The great thing is that all of these issues, midfield balance, maybe clinical edge, but I think that'll be fixed with Gyökeres being on the form as he is and him starting. Saka probably being back with proper fitness, Eze coming back with proper fitness. Remember, Eze's most recent performance had him score an absolute worldie against Bayer Leverkusen, and Rice scoring an absolute worldie against Bayer Leverkusen. It's just some of it is unfortunate, which gets me to the last point, which is player availability. I mean, I left it to the smallest percent because I'm not an excuse maker, but it's still there. Like, I'm not going to deny it. Eze missing from either of these games. Kai Havertz doesn't play. We're back to midfield balance. Kai Havertz doesn't play in those scenarios. I mean, Zubamendi was on the bench. Rice doesn't make it the team. You know, that also fixes the issue. In Capé not being healthy fixes the Miles Lewis-Skelly issue. Timber not being healthy fixes the Ben White issue. Do I need to go on? By the way, if Victor Gyökeres is selected as the striker against Southampton, we don't have a Gabriel Jesus issue. So all these things are fixable. I do kind of feel like, again, we need to realize we've played 51 games this season, and eventually, you know, you're going to get fatigue, especially if you're missing players in and out. And there you go. There's your blame pie. I did have the other part, but I do feel like I've just kind of addressed it in terms of how can Arsenal respond? I think it is by going back to what has been the formula all season. Jake, just quickly on this question, what's your opinion? Let's start looking for solutions rather than just, hey, let's sack Arteta. Like, what does Arsenal need to do now to turn it around? Instead of what everybody's doing here is like, you know, let's create the doomsday scenario. What does Arsenal need to do now to get ourselves back to winning ways?
I think we just need to do what we're good at, and we need to stick to what we're good at. You know, I'll parrot it until I'm blue in the face. When we high press, no one can handle it. No one can handle us. But it comes down to Arteta. It's all on Arteta. The rest of this season is all on Arteta because mentality for me starts at the top, and he has to let them have that intensity to press high. He has to instill in them the belief that, you know, we're going out here with no fear. If we lose, we lose, whatever. But we're going to play with no fear. We're going to do what we do best. And for me, that's pressing high, winning balls high in transition, and punishing teams with lethal finishing and clinical finishing. But when we play slow, when we let teams get set in their blocks, and then Martinelli refuses to take on his man, these are the things that we have to get better at. You know, if we're going to let Sporting get set into a defensive structure tonight, then for F's sake, take on the fullback. That's what Madueke is going to do. Martinelli simply refuses to do it. Trossard doesn't do it either because Trossard comes really, really narrow, and we don't have anyone on the left-hand side. So if Martinelli's in there today, he absolutely has to take on your man. But before that, the biggest thing for me, you know, the number one thing we can do is just stop letting teams get set. Don't let teams get set. Win the ball high and punish them in transition. And by the time they look up, we're up 3-0. And then you can dick around with substitutions and different formations and you know what I mean? Like, smash them 2-0 right out the rip, blitzkrieg, and then we'll sit back and defend for 80 minutes.
Yeah. Look, interesting. Sporting in their recent games, and this is where I'm going to quickly get back to Sporting, because I do feel like I've addressed enough. At least I wanted to hear Jake kind of offer some solutions in here, and I actually want to reach that out as well as we go on, as we close out the stream. I want to reach out to you guys. I want to hear solutions. No more moaning. You've had an hour and a half of moaning. I want to hear, what does Arsenal need to do to win the league? And okay, Siri keeps getting in the way. What does Arsenal need to do to win the league? And the correct answer is not get Arteta out before the end of the season. That I'm not accepting that as an answer. I want to hear some real objective analysis. And I know some of you guys will definitely give that to me. I'm looking at my boy JT on that one for sure, because I know that I can lean on him for some good objectivity. Let's go into this game. Look, their last two outings in the Champions League have been just completely different. They went out to the North Pole. They lost 3-0 and then turned that around and won 5-0, by the way, after extra time against Bodo Glimt at home. So obviously this is a team that's very good. Otherwise they wouldn't be quarterfinalists. I think they've been very, very stable and very consistent during their Champions League campaign that you earned them a top 8 spot. It's actually, you know what's interesting? Okay, Siri, I'm actually taking my watch off because
Siri thinks you're having a whole full-on conversation, huh?
Yeah, I know. I don't know when did I ever say the word Siri, but at some point I must have. Okay, I got sidetracked. Yeah, actually, yeah. Okay, here's the thing. You know that Sporting is the highest ranked left opponent that's out of the non-favorites. Now, while everybody thinks, hey, we have the easiest tie, while Atletico play Barca and Liverpool play against PSG and Bayern play Real Madrid, Sporting did better than all of those teams, and did better than Atletico. They did better than Liverpool, and they did better than not Liverpool, better than PSG, and did better than Real Madrid,
and better than Barcelona. They did better than Barca as well. They finished 8th. Barca didn't. Barca had to play a playoff.
No, they didn't.
Maybe I've got that mixed up.
Whatever. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. I'm like, no, they didn't. They finished better than Barca, but they did better than Atletico, better than PSG. And better than.
But Atletico finished better than Barca.
Yeah. So
Atletico was finished higher than Barca though, because the first tie of that Champions League game tomorrow is at the Camp Nou. I would have to go back and look at the table. I would have to go back and look at it. Yeah.
Oh, the first leg is at
it's at the Camp Nou, bro.
Is it?
Nope, it's at Camp Nou. I literally did the preview before I got on here.
Oh, okay. That's confusing. But
I'll look it up again.
That's just to say, the point I'm making is
once or twice in my life. I'll look it up again.
Is that we cannot overlook the Sporting team, especially at home. This is going to be my preview of this game in terms of how I think it's going to go. I think Arsenal has got a response tomorrow. They've got to have a response tomorrow. Where we are right now, I'm sorry, but even a draw tomorrow. Now, if it is a draw, not to speak out of both sides of my mouth, I will be like, hey, I expect us to go back home and take care of business, just like I did when we drew with Bayer Leverkusen, because that would be taking a draw out of context. However, for the vibes, I need a win and a win only. And I'm not even talking about a scraping of a win. I'm talking about like Victor Gyökeres absolutely having a clinic. And the reason why I go behind this is all the players that have been rested and didn't play internationals, didn't play Southampton. So something's got to give. Because we lost the Southampton game and Arteta rested all these players against Southampton, 9 out of 11 starters rested against Southampton, right? It needs to be repaid with, okay, we got rested. Now we'll show what we look like at full tilt. And I do not want to see lack of attacking intensity and clinical edge. I do not want to see defensive errors. And I definitely do not want to see lack of midfield balance. So
they're all calling you out. They're all calling you out, Anton. The game's today.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm in Australia. Yeah,
you're
today.
in Australia.
Yeah.
Time is a construct. So
guilty. Yeah, time is a construct. Yes. Sorry. Today. Yeah. All right, guys. It's 10:50 p.m. where I'm at. So, I'm literally after I log off the stream. I'm brushing my teeth, taking a shower, and going to sleep. Not to get you guys into my life that much. Um, but yeah, for me, this is a must win. But again, if we draw, I'm still going to be like, hey, the tie's not over, the season's not over. We're probably still going to go through, but I just can't. I'm just going to be honest with you. I can't deal, man. I can't deal with the negativity. I can't deal with these conversations like this. I am made for gloating. That's what God built me for. And
Yeah.
And all I do is, guys, I'm just going to be, I'm going to level you for a second. I'm just going to be human, right? Because I don't have all the answers to everything. I predicted a Gyökeres hat trick. Most likely it won't happen. But if it does, I am going to be taking the most... when Terry tomorrow goes on his little monologue about, oh my God, who would have guessed that Gyökeres would go back to Sporting and score a hat trick? I'm going to jump on so fucking fast and be like, I did. I said it on every single show for the last month and a half.
We got receipts.
Who could have guessed? He will say that. I bet you he's going to say that.
We got mad receipts.
Oh, wow. Written in the stars. Who would have guessed? I did. So please, all I'm saying is please just give it to me. It would be the most amazing thing. We would forget about Southampton. We would forget about Man City. What's this, Jake?
Nothing. I'm looking at something else. Don't worry about it.
Oh. And we'd be gassed. And all of a sudden, hey, Arsenal can do no wrong. We're going to go into Bournemouth. Their predictions against Bournemouth. We're going to smash them 3-0. All of it will be back. And I need it. I need that injected in my veins. Yeah. This is hopium. I'm going to be right out and be up front with you. It's hopium. But it's what we all fucking need, right? Even our Arteta outers. I know all the Arteta outers love Gyökeres. Lee Gunner is like the biggest Gyökeres fan. So we all want
is Alfie a Gyökeres fan? Alfie Brindle, are you a Gyökeres fan? He's not an AFTV fan. We can see that there. Yeah,
we'll see. I'll get to your comments before we wrap it up. And I hope you guys all have. Jake, are you seeing in the comments that people have answered my questions about solutions?
Yes, there was one from JT. He said solution wise.
Good, perfect. I love it. So I will get to you guys when we get there. Meanwhile, last point, and then we will be reading comments and ending the night because I've gone past the 1 hour and a half mark, which this show is designed to be. Back to business in the Premier League, and I have put Eze in there in the graphic for Arsenal because I'm expecting him to play, given to all reports. Guys, I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I will laugh if Arsenal comfortably win this game or win this game in any shape or form and go 12 points clear before Man City have to go to Stamford Bridge.
Yes, I need that. Yes.
So for all of the doom and gloomers, if we win against Bournemouth, because everyone's telling me what's going to happen if we lose against Bournemouth, but let's be honest, after the humbling that we've been in, I don't see a world where Arsenal's overlooking Bournemouth. That's the beauty of it. I don't see a world where Arsenal's overlooking Sporting. The reason why I know that is because they overlooked Southampton for Sporting. So they're not going to overlook Sporting. And they sure as hell aren't going to overlook Bournemouth. Like, that is the good part of it, about it. Arsenal's not sleepwalking into any of these games anymore. If one thing we know about Arteta, even the Arteta's haters, because you've all seen the documentaries, we need to get the fucking standard. He's going to be fucking yelling and screaming in a whole fucking week. I've already seen them doing whatever with the pen in huddles and moving around and doing weird shit. That's because Arteta got into their asses. Now, it's his fault. That's the funny part about it. Like, but he's still going to get into their asses. And I think that is, again, the silver lining. There's always a good and a bad. Until the season is over, we have 0 trophies and I have nothing to look at that's positive. I'm going to look at the positives. I'm going to look at first in the Champions League. We've not been defeated in the Champions League all year. We've had 1 draw away at Leverkusen. That's it in terms of bad results. The rest of them have been a smashing success. And that is kind of where we're at. It's different. We looked at the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, certainly with rose-tinted glasses. We were never good in the FA Cup. We played against some really poor opponents, which didn't make us pay. But Mansfield Town, we went for a 3-4-3, and we conceded, and it was 1-1 before, Eze wins the game for us. These competitions, it hasn't been that way. Yeah, we had a few little bad results where we were drawing here and there, but we've always been in control of the Premier League. But back to business. Bournemouth, by the way, has not won in forever.
But they've played really well. I watched their last game. They're going to be tough.
They will be tough, but I think at the Emirates, which, by the way, is another part that is not in the last two games, none of them were at home. So I think at the Emirates, my last memories at the Emirates was a Max Diamond winner, was Eze scoring a worldie and Rice scoring a worldie, and good vibes. And I think, remember, we went to their gaff, we beat them at their place. I know it was 3-2, but I think that scoreline humbled Bournemouth. We were up 3-1 at a point. They pulled one back through man on screen. Was it Ryan or was it, no, it was, no, the other guy. It was Krupi.
Which game?
Who pulled one back? The Bournemouth away.
Yeah.
But Rice was clinical in that game. That was the kiss of the camera game.
Yeah.
I think we'll win this game. I think it'll actually be a pretty easy business taken care of, and we'll go 12 points clear. And then I want to hear what you guys have to say about Manchester City, because at the end of the day, this is what's fucking nuts, and this is what annoys me about the narratives around Manchester City. If Arsenal was going to Stamford Bridge and they were playing Bournemouth at home, the people we're talking about are a lot more different. Oh, I will definitely mod you, JT. I don't have monetization yet. But once I do, I have you on my list of people who I'm definitely modding, because you are always filling up the comment section. And I've also got a few guys also in here. I've also have on my secret list in my little book of mods for the future. I will repay those who are loyal to me, always in kind. And Jake, by the way, Jake is way beyond mod. Jake is talent, on-air talent.
I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, so that's how I feel. And if she was on the other foot, what would you guys be saying about Arsenal, the rivals fans? That's one of the things. We're spending way too much time caring about what they think. By the way, by the time that Southampton game came along and that ended, I could give a fuck about what they were having to say about me or about Arsenal, because I just know that all you guys are doing is thinking about us when your teams have been shit all year. So I don't really give a shit. Neither guys should you. Let's just focus. For me, I will share this piece to the Goodness Therapy community. And Negative Dan's gonna hate me for saying it, but I said it already last time anyway. The focus for Arsenal now, and this is my last thing on the Premier League, and then we'll get into your comments and we'll get out of here. The focus right now is that currently Man City's maximum is 85. Arsenal are at 70. 85 for Man City requires 8 wins from 8 games. Even if that's the case, 5 of 7 from Arsenal gets the job done.
Yeah.
About if one of them is a draw, even if it's not Man City, gets the job done. Now, I wouldn't want that draw to be Bournemouth at home. I'd want it to probably be most likely Man City away, because that would make that number from 85 to 83 for Manchester City. Which is what people don't look at it for, is that Man City have got the least to lose. If Arsenal get a draw at Man City, City drops 2 points, Arsenal gain a point, regardless. Arsenal move 1 point closer to the title. City move 2 more points further away from the title. It's basically over if with a draw. They can't drop any points. Because at that point, only 4 wins is required from Arsenal, one of which could have already happened against Bournemouth. So 3. Like, that's why I don't see a world where Arsenal don't win the title, and why, if we don't, why Arteta should walk. Because this position that we're in is none like we've ever been in. You can't compare it to any of them. It's completely in our control. And by the way, here's another little tidbit for you guys. Last one. Man City making it through to the Wembley means that they will also not be playing the following weekend after our game against them. So that means that we can go and score and go and beat Newcastle and move another 3 points further ahead of Manchester City and closer to our final target.
Have they rescheduled the Palace game for City?
No.
Will it be after? Will it be in the middle of the week next week?
It depends on when Palace if Palace exits the conference.
Oh yeah, because they're in European as well. Yep, they're in Europe as well. There you go.
Yep. So that's what it's about. I'm not even worried about this Palace game because that game might be so far down the pipeline that, like, it's not even.
Well, the point. My point is, we might have 2 games in hand if they don't reschedule that, or City might have 2 games.
We'll have 2. Yeah, they'll have 2 games in hand. But here's the thing, right? So here's go to this scenario: Arsenal beat Bournemouth and City beat Chelsea. Let's just say it's still 9 points gap, right? Then we draw at the Etihad. It's still a 9 points gap. By the way, now we have 5 games left, right? Then we go and beat Newcastle at home. We go 12 points clear with 4 games left. What's 12 divided by 3? 4. We'd be on the brink.
Absolutely.
It's like the maths points to Arsenal winning the Premier League. Like the majority percentage of how many of these scenarios you go through points to Arsenal winning the Premier League. And that's why I'm not losing my shit. Now, if we were closer and we had more of that to fight for and it was a lot more nervy, and let's say, we start to lose games, in the coming weeks, we'll have a different conversation. But I don't see it happening because going back to the blame pie, with the exception of Arteta, none of that will be starting in the Premier League from here on out. And that concludes the show today. I will quickly read through a lot of you guys. Wow. I can't respond to all you guys. We're almost at 2 hours. I got to go to sleep. The game starts in how long from now? Almost 6 hours from now? Yeah. Okay. So
less than 6. Yeah. Speed run.
I'm going to speed read. So, but I'm looking out for solutions, as I mentioned before. This is why.
There's one in there from JT.
Oh, right. Where did we start from? Where was the last one we leave on? Okay, yeah, BX Scanner. He's going to ruin our star youth players. Actually, I only see that players improve under America. Okay, see, I'm replying. Rule, don't reply. Sorry, you will never convince me. I despise this manager with a passion. I'd prefer Jimmy Seville. Again, you are great coming up with names I've never heard of in my life. AFTV are a problem. Here's the AFTV comment. Our problem also ass-licking bunch of freaks. But they're also the same ones who were very big on Wenger out and were toxic and everywhere so embarrassing. So it's just about if Arsenal are winning, we're going to be overreactioning towards winning. If we're losing, we're going to be overreactionary towards losing. And that is Arsenal fans, not just AFTV. These are just Arsenal fans with mics in front of them. And again, I answered. Anyway, wanting Arteta out if he wins is literally the emotional position. Winning might unlock evolution for him. He deserves to try to show it. You guys are just too bought into the Arteta out agenda. Players that clearly like Arteta, like Rice, would be beyond confused if the board would sack Arteta after winning. Of course. There's my boy JT who's got a brain on him. And by the way, it took me this long to point out, He's got a Bane profile picture, which means must be a massive fan of my boy.
Must be a Gyökeres fan.
Yeah. City are miles ahead of us, to be honest. We've been so lucky. I can't even think of one full game we've been on it. The odd 30 minutes or so, the rests have been boring shit. I don't agree. Big up Anton, my boy Nate. He is on the mod list. He was the OG. He was my first ever commenter that is not a personal friend of mine. So I will always remember Nate. And every single time I see his name pop up in the chat, give him much love. Big up Anton. Had to stay off Arsenal stuff for a while, but we go again. Yeah, I don't blame you. Look, I took a 2-week break, I had to get some sleep because, again, while Arsenal play, I never sleep. I think a big issue is more than the negative style. It's the plays not being clinical enough. We would be perfect if we had wingers that are in form. Agreed. And look, a lot of it is Saka in terms of in open play. He's been great. He's been great from dead balls, but from open play, he's had his worst season, I believe. Slot won the league last year, and Liverpool fans want him out. What's the difference? I explained you the difference. I can't get my. Actually, I'll do it one more time. Okay, just to be clear, because I can't help myself. If Arteta in the summer buys Kvaratskhelia, I said Mkhitaryan, my God, Kvaratskhelia, Alvarez, he buys Tonali, and Arsenal are 6, and he's changed the system, then yeah. Arteta also built this team. Slot did not. Slot took apart what was a Klopp winning team. He won the league with it without making any signings. Remember, the Liverpool fans were complaining, "Oh, we're the only team I didn't sign anybody. All we signed was Chiesa." Well, they won the league because they didn't overcook a winning formula. It was the last bit of a winning formula. Mo Salah's legs have gone. Van Dijk's legs have gone. There's so much more to it. Arsenal's players are all in their prime. They're all average age around 25 years old, this team. It's not the same. I can't get my head around how all you guys are watching this Dross football and you still buy this utter trash.
Because we're winning.
I think winning is good football. And by the way, I'm also a defense first guy, so you're talking to the wrong person. If Arteta wins, he gets the year, and if the football doesn't evolve and other clubs start to run away from us, I am down to move on from him. Same as Slot, Alfie. Slot still has one more season. By reports, he has one more season, but yeah, we'll see. Arteta won't change his approach. I promise you he will, because he would have won. I promise you he will, because I've seen it. 22-23 he did. The reason why he went away is because we crumbled. Doing the very opposite. We had Rob Holding at the back at Manchester City away. Like I remember everything, which is why maybe it's my curse as well, which is why I can't rewrite history ever. Throwing the FA Cup away, how is this 100% how about 100%? Yeah, but manager doesn't play the game, so that you can't be 100% his fault. At the end of the day, I'm a person who said we have the best squad in Europe, and so somewhat these players must be competent enough to beat a championship level team. Then the chances were there for them to do it. But yeah, he's 50% because he didn't take it seriously enough to leave no stone unturned, and he left a bunch of stones unturned. Who's the problem, the manager or the players? Both. That's why, by design, my pie chart is 50-50. It goes back to the manager 100%. Yeah, the last 2 games, yeah, I've told you that. It's not the players, it's Arteta. He ruins anyone. Eze was class at Palace. Now he's... See, are you living in January or February? Because Arteta, Eze has not been shit. In fact, if Eze was playing in the last 2 games, I think they're both wins.
Yeah. Agreed.
So this is an outdated opinion. Do you think that Gyökeres is still shit? Because he scored 5 out of 3. If you think Gyökeres is still shit, you're living in December. So, okay, I'll read it. He plays them all out of position. His subs are negative. Sells ESR to Fulham. His subs are negative in games he's trying to close it out. Again, that's not always correct. I think Teta needs at least another assistant coach focused on attackers. As you said, we score lots of goals, but it's rarely from individual performance. I agree. There you go. Is this the solutions? Now, I don't know if that's a solution that helped you this
No,
season.
he legit says solutions wise.
Yeah. Okay. I want solutions for this season, but I do agree with you. I do think so. I do think you need to have guys who coach that and be trained in clinical, at least being clinical. Like we went crying out for a striker, and now he seems to be the only one who is clinical. The rest of them forgot how to score. Arteta out Joey Barton in. Okay. The attackers like Saka, Havertz clearly cannot evolve on their own, and it looks like their lack of leadership to help them evolve and find chemistry and confidence. And then BX Gunner has replied, cannot evolve? What nonsense is that? Arteta has coached their creativity out of them. I don't know, because I've also seen plenty of great moments from those players as well this season that I'm not going to erase. But you're talking group stages. When it comes to quarterfinals, semifinals, we fail under Arsene Wenger. Not under Mikel Arteta. That's my point about Mikel Arteta. He's never failed to make it out of the last 16. He failed to get out of the quarterfinals by a hair against Bayern Munich. And there, I can go through those two legs, and there are so many moments where Arsenal, Saka got a Stonewall penalty at the end of the game. Things like that. Arsenal would have won that game. Bayern Munich only win 1-0 in the second leg. So then we go to quarterfinal next year. We beat Real Madrid home and away. That's the last I checked when Arsenal played in the quarterfinal. And now we've got a tremendous opportunity now against Sporting. Semifinals, okay. But that was our first time since 2009. JT, when did you start watching Arsenal? JT goes 2001, my boy. That's about the time that I started watching Arsenal. At least when I was 9 years old. Yeah, that sounds about right. Only way they respond is sacking this coward. Again, I actually said that is not one of the solutions for this season, Alfie. I'll need a little bit more creativity here. Really? And you think that highly of Arteta? Wow, that's astounding. Is he talking about me?
I'm not sure.
Well said, Jake.
Not sure what I said, but all right.
Yeah. Vic Scudder, I don't think that highly. I literally been critical of him more than praising him in this show. I just don't think he's a complete. Same here. I'm only defending him now because you guys are all attacking him. And if you've attacked him for things that he's justified, I've been like, yeah, you're right. Now actually that makes a lot of sense, JT. Had to ask. Glad to see you guys getting along. Big Scunner, no worries, mate. I just try to be fair. See, I love it. Love the love. But Arteta will go to Sporting not to lose, prepared for another. I disagree.
I'm afraid of this.
You are. See, me and Jake don't agree on everything. Here you go. Alfie, Jake's got your backing. Bodo Glimt are better than Southampton.
Yeah.
Probably. I don't know. They both were teams who had unlikely winning streaks, to be honest. I reckon they're just about the same. If Bodo Glimt was in England, I don't think they'd be in the Premier League. Not as constructed. Arteta needs to trust his players and let them run their game. I agree. But again, I think he did a little bit against Southampton and it didn't work. Let the players dictate the attack. That's what he did that against Southampton. Didn't work. Solution-wise, I said, more box crashing and involvement in attacking from Zubimendi or Rice. Improve the transitional play. Do calculated risk. Send more players forward. And it's a good opportunity. Yeah, I think, and I do think you're going to see some of that stuff. I think, hopefully, the rest that these players have gotten is going to help that. Today, everybody's taking the piss out of me. This match is today, isn't it? Yeah, my bad. It's getting to that. If I'm still on the stream by 3 hours, it will be today for me too, unfortunately. Firstly, plan of action is clear. Since 2 comps left, finalize your top 15 players and play them. Don't bring fluidity in your first 11. Havertz and mid-Saka at 10. Leave Victor and Orled. That's basically my solution, Charlie. Absolutely. Agreed. I thought I was wrong. No, yeah, it is today. I honestly wanted to see a midfield of Rice, Mendy, and Norgard. People might cry that is too defensive, but with right instruction, that midfield is impenetrable. But JT, weren't you the one who were telling me about how you need to be able to attack? Like, who's playing 10? Rice?
Zuby.
No, I don't want to see Norgard. He's on my Dunzo list for the season. Unless it's in coming off the bench to try to close out a game. Rice and Zumendi are more than capable to put some good progressive passes in. True, but I've been spending the best part of 2 hours trying to tell you why Eze and Odegaard are the key. So I'm going to stick to that. But I do agree. I do agree, but they also are the key to my defensive stability, which I've been missing, and my control, which I'm missing so much. And I need it back. Gyökeres is on fire at the moment. Had we had him, I'd be sure we'd lose. Had we not had him, okay. Sorry, I'm getting suddenly dyslexic at 11:15 p.m. at night, which I'm not ever. Arteta out, AFTV out. All right, Alfie. Gyökeres will be imposing himself all night, but he needs service. Yeah, that's the key. That's the key. That will also be my calling card if he doesn't score. Yes, but Arteta is ruining him. Gyökeres? No, I think Gyökeres has been improving. I think he's just been a feeling out system. But look, I think there's thoughts to it. Like 4 of those 5 goals were for Sweden. But hey, we're also saying that Graham Potter is a better manager than Arteta. If so, get out of here. Bournemouth and Newcastle. No, don't get out of here, Alfie. I've been loving you. You've been great fun. I was joking. Okay. Bournemouth and Newcastle stand out for me. I like both. For the games that we could drop points in, you're saying? Or games that we need to win?
As far as our fixtures are concerned, yeah.
Sex, Dwarf, okay. What? Knowing how this season has been, we end the league with 3-goal lead in the Champions League and a 12-point gap in the league as Chelsea beats Man City. Again, I wouldn't be surprised. I actually don't think Chelsea City's winning this weekend.
I do.
I still think we either need to win or draw at the Etihad, or City needs to drop points in one more game. I will drop more points. I'll be there with you in 2 minutes. My girlfriend is looking at me like, when are you going to go to bed? I still think we either need to win or draw at the Etihad, or City needs to drop points in one more game. I think we do drop more points this season. I think we can drop more points this season too. But I think that Man City, if they drop points of any form, it's done. It's like, how many points are we dropping is the real question. Because at the moment, we can afford to drop 5 and still win the league. Arteta out, Tommy Robinson. Okay. He should have been sacked at the end of the season if everyone is honest with themselves. Patrick Agibamang is out of the season and will miss the World Cup. Damn. Okay, I'm gonna.
I saw that.
Who can you tell me who that is, so I don't have to Google?
Yeah.
Pierre Aubameyang? No, he's
no,
not in the World Cup. I don't even. I need to start scouting some players outside the Premier League. I've been way too much involved into this title race this season.
Oh, he's American. That's why he's saying it.
Anton,
he plays for Derby.
Could you mod me? We've seen this. Yeah, I told you.
He plays for Derby.
You're already going to be modded.
Yeah.
Pop the boats. Oh, you cannot mod unless you are monetized. I didn't know. Yeah, I know. It sucks that. I wish I could. Hate to break it to you, gents. Sporting play exactly like Southampton. We have to be prepared for long diagonal passes by Zuby Rice. But again, I'm not worried about it, Charlie, because the team is going to be set up much better. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in that case, actually, that works best for Arsenal because it means that they're not parking the bus and we have got room to exploit. Just like we had plenty of room to exploit Southampton. We just didn't have the right personnel to do it. Gabriel Jesus. Do you have a platform where I can send you a link for Oh yeah, you can't send links in. Yeah, maybe we'll have to work on that. I'll work on that, JT. It's a good tool to work on with streams for the title race for days to come. Well, he doesn't like Palestine or doesn't like the UK. I don't know which one. Maybe both. And how many of the last 5 have we won? What are you talking about? In the league? 4. In all comps? 3.
Yeah.
My kids have been convinced I've been supporting a loser team for the last 20 years. I need this a lot more than I need. Yeah,
We
I
all
agree.
do.
Look, I don't
We
have
all
kids.
need it. We all need it, BX.
Yeah, no, dude, I feel you. I feel you. I absolutely feel you. We were 8 clear a few years ago at the same stage. It's a different team.
Why
They
you
also
bringing
had
up
2
old shit?
games in hand in that. So it was really an 8-point lead. That was a 2-point lead. And yeah, look, in that season, we had 3 consecutive draws. Liverpool, Southampton, West Ham. But here's the good news. We've passed all of those points in the Premier League season at this point. So we're now further than that. So this is why we're beyond now at 9 points than we were at with 8 points, if that makes sense, by a game. So we are 1 game ahead of that. If City gets 6 from Chelsea in our game, then not a single sane soul on the planet will not say that they won't be going to win the remainder. City clean swipe, yes numbers. I'll tell you one single soul, me. Because if we win all the others and even get a draw, then we still win the league. You even said what Arsenal's results are. Shout out Anton for putting in work with the chart and the stream structure. The boys need to take notes. It's so boring when the whole stream is about screaming Arteta out at each other like yesterday. Oh, big ups, JT. Thank you, man. Yeah, look, I spend a long time doing this. And by the way, Jake himself loves his AI driven material as well. So Jake comes from a similar class as me. We love to be prepared. We love to have things to look at. Also, shout out for sacrificing sleep for making sure to read out all of our comments. Yeah, I know. And my girlfriend just came to me like half asleep, being like, "When the fuck are you gonna go to sleep?" Also, shout out for yeah. Did Arteta with Emery's team. We've just lost a quarter final and a final. It was sleep of the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, not of the Champions League. You were telling me about the Champions League. It's funny that some are quick to 100% blame for losing on Arteta, which I don't agree with necessarily. But when there is a win or even a good performance, it's crickets from those people. I know. And that's when Anton comes out to play with his shades. Are you the same type of fan that will say Arteta made history if we made back-to-back semifinals like Anton has? Useless stat, unlike making actual history like winning our first Champions League. That's
confusing.
It's looking at where we came from and where we're going. Obviously, I've also said that Arteta needs to win a trophy this season to validate all of that. If the progress doesn't end in eventual success, then you're right. But my banking is that it does. Stats that actually matter. And by the way, for the record, my prediction at the start of the season was that Arsenal win the Champions League, and we still can do so. And if we win tomorrow night convincingly, I'll definitely be feeling good about that. Although the new camp might be awaiting, which will be the biggest test, I think, of all this season. More than, by the way, I'm going to say this now. I am more afraid of the new camp than of the Etihad. I actually don't see us losing at the Etihad. You can thank Ryan Shirky and his keepy ups for that, because Arsenal players keep score. You can thank Manchester City players and the way they behaved after the medal ceremony and the laughing and the joking for that. This is an Arsenal team that has won about 70% of the games this season, only lost 5 times, and has got pride. And has got Gabriel and Saliba who hold grudges. And Victor Gyökeres who holds grudges. Just letting you guys know. I'm more worried about Barcelona at the new camp. Redemptions, yeah, that doesn't really matter. Who really cares about that? Yeah, I know, but it's just a point to say he's not been that crap in the knockout rounds of the Champions League. He's been getting better every year. We don't play with the 10 most of the time either way. Attacking is, it was like that this year, but as the season has transitioned, we have definitely played with the 10. Eze has been playing 10. I look at how far pressed up he's up the pitch. He's definitely playing 10. Havertz was playing 10. We went to Kairat, and Odegaard and Havertz were definitely not deep enough the other day to be considered 8s. Now, while people might think Havertz was an 8, Norgard on 2 viewings now was definitely being stranded in midfield. Neither of those 2 players were playing 8s. But yeah, JT, most of the time though, I've been loving your comments there. You've been the commenter of the day. You've been my boy. But no, I agree for you, but recently we've switched to 10. English media used to push all the useless stats for Southgate at England, just like they do for Arteta. The English media likes to rip Arteta. I don't know what your English media you're looking at, Redemption. By the way, make sure you're liking and subscribing to both channels and to Jake. It doesn't make sense because City have a game in hand and lose that it's 6 points. Did you hear a thing I said, Alfie?
Just move on. Just move on.
Flybury, where do you think our biggest attacking threat will come from to close out the season? Moving on.
I like the ladybug, the Arsenal ladybug.
Yeah, I love it.
Profile.
I'm not really confident on that. Nothing really gives me confidence. The closest it looks like Gyökeres and Eze. I agree. Same here. Eze and Gyökeres, our wingers look tapped. But I think that's one of the reasons why Saka's still not playing. He's trying to untap him. I think that's what's happening, but it better pay off. Like we better not be missing him tomorrow. And we need to stop relying on a 16-year-old. I am not sure if Arsenal players keep score, Anton. They were giggling after the match without a care in the world. Arsenal players?
Well, he's talking about Martinelli, and Martinelli needs to get going anyway.
Yeah, Martinelli's on my out list. So
yeah, bye.
Yeah,
bye, Felicia.
He was not one of the players that I mentioned. Arteta out. Oh, definitely not.
Donnie J.
I'm on the other side. I'm Donald Trump out. I want my fucking petrol back to a proper price.
I mean, Donald Trump might just say, "Hey, bomb the you know what out of him, and we'll just damn the torpedoes." It might be all out attack from Donnie J. You never know.
Yeah, Donnie J doesn't even know how to be president, let alone how to be the football manager. So, Taco.
All right, JT. Well said.
And with that, that has been the stream today. Guys, amazing. I will start again. I appreciate your patience waiting for about 2 hours while I was waiting for Dan. Man, JT's my boy. You're right. Although sometimes he actually does back up his word, like bomb Iran. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. Guys, again, thank you so much for waiting for that long while with Dan. Hopefully next week we got Dan back. Knowing Dan, something freak thing happened. He wasn't able to get to it. He was probably stuck in traffic, or his phone died while he was stuck in traffic. Something along the lines. So hopefully we're back with Dan next week. Thanks to Jake for literally, I literally was like, Jake, you're in. He was in the chat and I was like, Jake, you're in. And he just popped up as always. Thanks to my buddy again for showing up and sitting through here. Thank you to my beautiful girlfriend, Christy, who has been waiting for me nicely while I chat to all you guys and read all your comments. And thank you to everyone who's been here from hours before, as I said. Though I love in this. Shout out to the boys. See you guys after the game. Yeah, we'll be having, I don't know about Gooners Therapy because I can't tell you about their schedule, but on Fire Them Cannons, I hope to be having a very positive post-game show tomorrow. You need to wake up all. To be honest, I need to go to sleep first to wake up.
You gotta sleep before you can wake up.
So in order to be able to wake up, I need to actually have to sleep first. That's my problem, Alfie. You're talking to the wrong guy.
Oh man.
Positive Jake. Yeah,
I try to.
I'll call balance Jake. I've seen Jake on days where Jake's been negative.
Yeah, JT, again, go check out some of the match reactions from seasons gone by. There's been some heated moments.
Yeah. All right, you do that to your own country. come back to me afterwards and see if you really still believe that after he's done. All right, guys. Thank you so much, guys. I will be out of here. We Arsenal play in exactly 5 hours and 15 minutes, which is exactly how much time, probably 5 hours, that I have to sleep. So that means I will be. I gotcha, JT. I gotcha. I got the pun.
There you
Very
go.
good. And am I negative Anton? Because this is the most negative Anton there's been all year. You guys pumped the positivity out of me with all the Arteta out comments, but like, you know, this today was was supposed to be the day I was coming out, gave Arteta 50% of the pie, and I thought I was being a hater today, but you know, yeah, he definitely jumped in. Jake is a lifesaver. Negative. Love it. It's good. All right. I'll have to, guys. Love you guys and leave you again, or Neganton.
Neganton.
I'll have to love you all and leave you. Again, we'll be back for the post-game show tomorrow for Fire Them Cannons business. Come on, Arsenal. Come on, please. I can't fucking take any more of this bullshit. Please. I'm just a simple man. I beg you. Just win tomorrow, please. In the words of the great Al Davis, just win, baby. We're out of here.